And a very pleasant good afternoon. And a very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you in to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. And we get ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday. And we get ready for, we are hoping, in short order, the name of the next head coach of the Penn State football team. Of course, the Nittany Lions gearing up for the regular season finale at Rutgers on Saturday, 3:30 kickoff in Piscataway. Both teams 5-6 on the season. So the winner becomes bowl eligible. And it'll be interesting, to say the least, as to whether or not Penn State decides to, if it wins the game Saturday, or should I say when it wins the game Saturday, if the Nittany Lions do opt to take advantage of the bowl game opportunity, or if this season the Nittany Lions decide to pass. And I think part of that is going to come down to, all right, if Terry Smith is named head coach, I still think it's unlikely, but certainly seems more possible now than it did prior to the victory over Nebraska. If Terry Smith is named the head coach, then I think it makes it much more likely that Penn State accepts the bowl bid. And I think it makes some more sense because likely a large portion of the roster, at least of those that have eligibility remaining, would be probably returning next season. There's going to be some changeover, as there is every season, no matter what. But the likelihood is, if Terry Smith stays, the majority of the players that can return will return. And therefore, the bowl game, even if you have some players opt out because they are looking at their draft prospects and don't want to risk the injury and all of those things that now come into play, I think that's fine. Where I'm just not sure it's going to make a lot of sense is if Penn State either doesn't name a head coach by, let's say, Monday or Tuesday of next week, and or Penn State, because listen, if it's Terry Smith, then he gets named, I think, prior to the Rutgers game, or worst case scenario, you say, all right, we need to see it against Rutgers. And, in the 24 hours after the Rutgers game, you name Terry Smith the head coach and you move on. To me, if Terry Smith isn't named by Monday morning, I think, know then that Terry Smith is not the next head coach of the Nittany Lions. And I am pretty confident nobody else on the staff would be the next head coach. And therefore, I'm not sure that a bowl game does make a lot of sense for the Nittany Lions this season, because with the uncertainty surrounding the program, or if a different head coach, not Terry Smith, is named, again, we're going to have more defections off of this roster, more players coming in from other rosters. And I just don't know that I guess the question is, how much of a reward do you look at the bowl games that would be possible there? How much of a reward would that be for the seniors that would opt to play in? And I'm not sure how many seniors would opt to play in. And maybe that's something they need to figure out quickly. Maybe you do a poll in the locker room after the Rutgers game. I mean, it wouldn't be anything official, obviously. You're not going to be able to hold people definitively to decisions made there. But hey, do the majority of you want to play? Do you think you would play if we went? And if they look at it as a reward, and yeah, most of them say they'll play, maybe you go ahead and do it anyway, give them that opportunity. But again, the bowl game normally a reward for the seniors, and I just think the big name seniors would be unlikely to play in the bowl game. I wouldn't think, although again could be wrong, but I wouldn't think a denied Dennis Sutton. Katron Allen would be an interesting one because that guy loves football so much. I'm not sure that he wouldn't risk his own personal well-being and wealth to go ahead and play. But truthfully, my guess is Terry Smith would probably sit down with him and say, listen, we'd love to have you. We appreciate everything you've done. But, man, like it is time to start thinking about you and your future and risking your future for the Pinstripe Bowl or the Motor City Bowl or whatever it may be. Probably not the wisest decision. So, again, that's all stuff that needs to get sorted out, and it'll depend in part on who the next head coach is, in part on what the feeling in the locker room is, and ultimately what the feeling of Pat Kraft and Terry Smith and the football program, what their feeling is regarding whether or not to move forward with the idea of playing in a bowl game. But first things first, Penn State has to beat Rutgers to become bowl eligible. And if Penn State is bowl eligible, then Nittany Lions obviously will receive a bowl bid. And then it's a matter of, hey, do you want to accept that bowl bid or not? And that'll be the the next element of it. We learn why we shouldn't hire our friends. That's what 4 to 5 years of building would look like if Matt Rule was at Penn State. I'm not 100% sure I'm following that one. Shane, help me. I'm admittedly a little tired today, so I'm not even saying you're not being clear. I'm just telling you I'm in a place where I'm not picking up on. I'm not sure whose friend is being hired. I don't think Matt Rule had any. I'm missing something there with Nebraska, but yes, I would agree if the basic point is, hey, you don't hire somebody just because they're a friend to run a top rate program or a program that you're envisioning to be top rate. I'm with you 100%. If you're saying that that's why you don't hire Matt Rule, I wouldn't get too caught up in one game or one season. Again, it was a significant rebuilding product. Rule is friends with Kraft. I'm still not. I'm missing the why we shouldn't hire friends part. Kraft and I'm sorry. I'm just slow on the uptake here. Anyways, listen, the search, I think, is going to be coming to an end. Now, whether or not we know what the result of the search is, I think, is another story, because I still think there is a very good chance that Penn State is, in fact, going to get a head coach from one of the Power 4 schools, and potentially that coach could be in the playoffs, certainly if it's a Kalen DeBoer or if it is possibly a Bob Chesney. And so do you get something worked out, keep it quiet? Do you get something worked out, let it be known, and let everybody figure out whether or not you roll on? I don't know. That's the awkward part of the timing here for Penn State. And listen, I think at the end of the day, Pat Kraft knows this is a critical decision. He has to make the call based on what he thinks is the best fit and the candidate that gives them the most likely opportunity to get back into the Final Four and to truly contend for a national title. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on the morning show. Where on the list would you say Terry Smith falls in the list of potential coaches? My guess, and it's just a guess, again, everybody's speculating here, and so I would not put any great weight on what my guess is, but my guess is uh, while he will get serious consideration, and I do think Pat Kraft will listen and and have an honest talk about, hey, this is what we're envisioning for the future. What are you envisioning? How would you go about building it? And maybe, I think it is possible Terry Smith blows him away. My gut right now tells me that Pat Kraft, I think, wants somebody with head coaching experience and that can and again, this is speculation. So I don't think at the end of the day it will be any of the, like a Brian Hartline or even a Joe Brady from the Bills or anything like that. I think he's looking for a head coach of a Division I program. I think I said Power Four. That's not necessarily, I think, part of it. I do think Pat Kraft, if he has his druthers, would like to get a head coach. That being said, I think and hope Pat Kraft, while I understand a bunch of people say, man, you don't want to do this just based on emotion, and everybody's getting caught up in the emotion with Terry Smith. I think that's fair as far as it goes. I also don't. I also think you should not hire Terry Smith just because there's a bunch of emotion around him. I think that emotion is based on, from Terry Smith's standpoint, his emotion is based on a long love affair with the university, a long love affair with the sport of football, and a long love affair with the Penn State football program, along with the kids that he has in it. And so that is a powerful connection for Terry Smith. I also think that the emotion of the fans is largely based on the results and what we have seen in terms of the progress. Now, it's a short sample size. I understand that. There's nothing any of us can do about that, including Terry Smith. He hasn't been given an opportunity to be a head coach for more than 5 games. And I also think you need to look at the circumstances in which a coach is facing, because I've seen some folks, I think very unfairly, well, if we want a coach that's just going to get blown out by Ohio State and lose to Indiana, yeah, Terry Smith's your guy. Okay. You're come on. Like you watched this thing unfold with the rest of us. You saw a team that was playing with a lack of passion. I'm not going to say a lack of effort, but the passion that you need to play this sport at the highest level with was not there against UCLA or Northwestern. However, whoever you blame, however that unfolded for whatever reasons, they just were not playing with that passion, that fire. You cannot argue that team Saturday night did not bring the passion, did not bring the fire. And I think really from the Indiana game on, that has been the case. And, even I think Iowa, they acquitted themselves pretty well in a very difficult spot. I think Terry Smith, again, he wasn't planning to be head coach. It's a lot different situation when you are the head coach and you have some time to put your philosophies in place, to get your staff and everything in line. I mean, Terry Smith is thrown in there. And I think, again, you go on the road and you're facing Iowa and then Ohio State. And I think they played well against Iowa. I think they played a really good first half against Ohio State. And then, the Buckeyes took control, no doubt, in the second half of that one. And I think Penn State responded very well then back in the home game. So I think anybody saying that the results aren't what you need from a big-time coach, you're not being fair. You're not being real about the situation Terry Smith faced and the results that we've seen, the progress that has been made in a short period of time. So, I'm speaking just for me, and yeah, maybe emotion does play into it. I think there is a very good chance that the diamond in the rough is right here, is already on campus, and I think Terry Smith would do a terrific job. And I think especially with the resources that are now going to be available, and with uh, the one reason that I would really like to see Terry Smith, and again, if I was laying odds, I think the odds are still long on ultimately this being Terry Smith. But for me, I think it would bring all of the donors together under the Penn State tent. I don't think the new donors would say, nope, we're not going to give to a program that has a head coach that's honoring Joe Paterno. I don't think they care. I think they care about the winning and moving this thing forward, and all of those things. And I think Terry Smith, I think, can do that. I think Terry Smith also can bring some of the old guard money, if you will, the folks that are refusing to give to the university or the football program until it properly honors and respects Joe Paterno. And listen, I think there would be additional honoring, but I think just the hiring of Terry Smith would largely appease that block of Penn State alums. So I think there's a lot of good business reasons behind Terry Smith. I think the emotional sentiment is certainly there, but I also think there's a very real chance that Terry Smith actually would be a great head coach of any Division I program, but happens to be here at Penn State. I think he has the recruiting chops. I think he has seen a pretty good coach in James Franklin, whether or not they ever got to elite. He saw day in and day out what a top 10 coach was doing, or a coach at least of a top 10 program was doing day in and day out. And I think we've seen enough now to know that Terry Smith will not be just a James Franklin clone. I mean, he has his own ideas, own ways of doing things. I think there's would be more accountability. And again, I would love to see it. I am firmly in the Terry Smith camp, but I'm going to be in the camp of whoever is hired. And I still think it is much more likely that we will see somebody like a Bob Chesney, somebody like a Kalen DeBoer, even an Eli Drinkowitz. And it's funny how fans and folks are fickle. A loss here, a loss there, and all of a sudden, wow, scratch that guy off the list. This is you gotta look big term stuff here. And again, it's about a bunch of different things. It's the organizational component, it's the recruiting component, it's, hey, how are you going to handle all of the things that come around college football now, college athletics. And I think Penn State's going to change some things up. I'm close to 100% positive that there's going to be a change in terms of the overall duties that'll be handed to the head coach versus a true general manager, which I think is going to be part of the equation at Penn State moving forward. And that's going to be a critical hire, and that, synchronization, if you will, between the athletic director, the head coach, and the general manager is going to be vital for Penn State and any program moving forward. Again, I think Terry Smith would do a great job with all of that. So I am more than okay with Terry Smith getting it if he were to get it. And it is one of those things where, yeah, there's maybe a little more risk, a little more gamble with Terry Smith than some of the other names out there. But I think there's gamble and risk no matter who you bring in. We've talked about it many, many times. There's been many coaches that have been brought in where you're like, oh, man, this is a can't miss proposition, and they miss. And there's been other coaches brought in that are head scratchers, and it's like, oh, man, what is this program thinking? And then 5 years later, you're like, oh, yeah, that's what they were thinking. Boy, they were right on top of it, made it a great hire. I think Terry Smith, if given the opportunity, has a chance to do something really special here at Penn State. I don't know that he'll be given the opportunity, and so it may be one of those that's just always going to remain a hypothetical. But I do think Pat Kraft will give a long, hard look and listen to Terry Smith and fairly judge him against the other candidates. However many final candidates there are for the job. And again, I suspect we're down to, my guess is Pat Kraft has it down to probably 3-4 possibilities now. And I would think Terry Smith is at least one of those possibilities, but my guess is not the leading candidate at the moment. But again, that's just my guess. No, no more or less valuable than anybody else's thinking out there. There are some people that are more connected with the college football networking world, and even they say this has been hard to truly get a read on what is happening with the Penn State search. But there are some names, and Kalen DeBoer keeps coming up, which again doesn't necessarily mean anything other than I do think there's some interest there, at least on Penn State's part. And if you believe the reporting, and I'm not 100% sure I do, but if you believe the reporting, I do think there's probably some uneasiness, at the very least, for DeBoer and his family in Alabama. Now, whether or not that uneasiness translates to anything substantial in terms of, hey, we got to get out of here, maybe, maybe not. And that's the same with all of these names that are being floated about. I think at the end of the day, Pat Kraft is going to do his due diligence, but I think there's going to be a lot of this is just going to be the gut feeling and the conversation with the candidates, conversations with the various candidates. Pat Kraft has got to assess, all right, I think this guy is going to be the best candidate moving forward in terms of, hey, this is the overall vision for the program. This is how I see our recruiting opportunities. This is where I want to concentrate our areas of recruiting. This is how I want to build the program. This is where I see the opportunities to build up the NIL money and make sure we're keeping the student athletes that we recruit happy. This is how I envision the transfer portal. I liked James Franklin's kind of approach with the transfer portal. I think not going wholesale year in and year out is smart, but I think it is also really important that you go out and selectively get positions of need each year, really zero in on the guys that you think would fit. That would both help and fit your program. You want a guy that's going to fit culture-wise, but you need a guy that's going to be a difference maker, at least you firmly believe can be a difference maker on the field as well. And I think a lot of the names that are being mentioned, I think potentially could be very good fits here for Penn State. I all along have been a big Joe Brady fan. I still would be thrilled to see him. I think that is now unlikely as well. But again, maybe they are doing a good job of kind of keeping a name or names from being prominent here in the stretch run of the coaching hire decision. And I do think we are in the stretch run one way or another. Do you think Penn State will hire a GM no matter who they hire? I do. I think you almost have to. If you're going, and I think all of the big time programs moving forward within the next year or so are going to have GMs. I just think there's too much of a business component now, and as Goon has said, I think you need to get the alignment, to use the James Franklin terminology, but I think you have to get some of the financial components off of the plate along with some of the other logistical elements off of the plate of the head coach. Now they need to be involved. I understand that, and it has to be a team with the GM and the coach. And I think, as we've talked about, I think it'll be a little different in college football, is my guess, and it's just a guess. But I think the coach will have. It's ultimately the coach's program, is how I think this will still play out. And so the coach is basically going to be hiring the GM, or if you're looking at a pecking order, I think they're at the very least on even footing, if not the head coach with a slight leg up, is again my best guess. But yeah, I do think no matter who the coach is, that Penn State and most, if not all, of these power programs are going to hire a GM, because there's just too many moving parts, and we're still not sure how some of this stuff is going to settle. But you know that you are going to have somebody more in charge of looking at the resources available for transfer portal guys, for recruits, and kind of figuring that stuff out on a day in, day out basis, along with, again, I think some of the other elements now that surround college athletics in general, football in specific. I just think it's a vital position moving forward for all of these big time programs. Let's pray we don't get a heartbreaker like Lane Kiffin. It'll be so sad if he leaves Ole Miss for another job, because that's the school's best hire. Lane Kiffin just does not feel like a good fit here at all to me. Maybe, and again, if he is the hire, I'll be on board, and let's see what he can do. I'm not sure Lane would have any interest here, or much interest, and that just does not feel like the right fit to me. But what do I know? Do you think it is a good or bad thing that people are so tight-lipped about the search? I think that's a very good thing. I think that is. I think you're building trust, number one, with the potential coaches and ultimately whoever the head coach is, by not getting it out there and having their current program be worried about it. So I think that is a good thing for both Penn State and for the potential future coaches. And I also think you don't want to get into this game where hey, we hear that this guy's being offered this much, and this guy, maybe they're trying to lowball. Like, there's just a bunch of things if you start having that stuff get out there, and it's not easy to not have that stuff get out there with all of the number of fans that are tracking flights, that are tracking the movements of various coaches. I mean, it is not easy to keep something like this as secret as what Pat Kraft and Penn State have been doing. And I mean, it stinks for us because we just want to know. We're curious, but I think it bodes well for the future of the whoever Pat Kraft's decision is. I think part of that person's decision to come here will be the way this process has been handled. So I think that has been a very good thing. Let's see. All right, I'm just trying to make sure we're answering the questions. Can Penn State opt out of a bowl? I think the Big Ten makes them go. I'll have to look into that a little bit. It's going to be hard. I mean, I guess you could make them go. You can't really make them go and compete. And the concern to me is, again, let's just play the hypothetical. If Bob Chesney is the hire, Okay. And so while Terry Smith is going to do his due diligence and do whatever is asked of him, I'm sorry, if Bob Chesney is hired, or anybody else, throw any name. I'm just picking one, but if they are hired and announced, it comes out either right before or right after the Rutgers game. Hey, the Penn State has its guy. Now you have a less motivated Terry Smith. Now, do I think he's professional enough and he'll do everything in his power to get Penn State a win? Yep. I do, but. Hard to imagine the passion is going to be quite what it has been these last couple of weeks for Terry Smith for the bowl game. I just think inevitably, while he'll do everything he can to muster the same enthusiasm, again, he's a human being, and human nature is going to tell you, man, this is a job I really wanted. I put my heart and soul into this for the last few weeks. I'm not getting the job. I don't think consciously he'll do anything different, but yeah, that's got to be a little bit of an impact on you in terms of how you coach. I also think the number of opt-outs then for Penn State goes through the roof, and again, maybe you go quote unquote play it, but I think it has the chance to be a very ugly look for the university and the football program. Optics of not going to a bowl game doesn't look good. Yeah, I disagree on that. The optics of not going to a bowl game with this situation. I mean, there are situations where those optics would be bad. Again, if it's a new coach coming in, you're keeping likely a handful of players off of this roster in the next season. The bowl game, I'm just not sure how meaningful it would be for the seniors. And yeah, normally it is a seniors. I don't know that they would regret it. A lot of seniors that have opted out here in recent years, and I haven't seen a lot of them say, "Boy, I really wish I had gone back and played in a bowl game of lesser consequence in particular." So I don't think the optics there would be that bad, given the situation that Penn State is currently in. With a new coach, will they honor Paterno and bring back the history of Penn State football prior to 2014 to Lash? Landon has said there is zero proof that there was Penn State football prior to 2014. Landon Tangwall. That is a very good question, and I don't know the answer. I think it is in part going to be who is the coach, and I think part of it will also be, all right, what does the staff look like? Do we have is Terry Smith retained? Is he still part of the staff? Is Deion Barnes? Are some of the former Nittany Lions retained? And what does a new coach is going to come in with his own set of priorities, his own thoughts. And there's to me, there's no way to know. Would I like to see it? And again, I don't think this is a situation where it has to be every day you pay reverence to Joe Paterno and the history of Penn State football. But yeah, do I think it's ridiculous that there's not like recognition of the winningest coach who was at your school and one of the great philanthropists, if not the greatest philanthropist in the history of college football coaching? And when you look at the impact that he and his family made on the university, yeah, it seems silly to not acknowledge that and to have it be a presence where you can appreciate the history in your football building. And I think having that recognition, understanding that you're part of a bigger picture, I think for any of us, it's always better. And I think, to me, your life or your career in this case, I think it takes on more meaning when you have that appreciation. Hey, I am just part of this long history. And yeah, I want to make an impact while I'm here. I want to uphold what Joe Paterno did with the grand experiment. I want to be part of the history here. And so to me, it's important. I think to a lot of Penn Staters, it's important. How important it is to whoever the new head coach is and to the current administration, I don't know. It's a very good question. I think it is. I know what I would like to see happen, and it is whoever the coach is. I think, hey, let's at least acknowledge. Again, it doesn't have to be. Every room has a huge portrait of Joe Paterno, but yeah, I mean, a little recognition of, again, the all-time winningest coach, one of the all-time great philanthropists in your university's history. Yeah, I think that's probably a good person to have recognized in your football building. That seems pretty reasonable, and I think you can do that. I think you can have a ceremony somewhere along the way where you actually publicly reach out to Sue Paterno, thank her for what she and Joe have done and what they have meant to the university. And yes, I am one of those. I put the statue back up. Goon is out on his Thanksgiving break, but I do think he is joining us at some point in today's program. That is at least my belief, and I could end up being shown incorrect on that, but that is my belief at this time. With that, we are actually going to take our first timeout here, and we will continue. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Of course, no show Thursday with Thanksgiving. We will have the NFL triple header for you on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. So NFL football from 12:30 on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox on Thanksgiving Day. And then Goon and I will be back next Tuesday. And again, I'll continue to cling to my belief that Goon will be joining us from remote location a little bit later in today's program. And we are coming back with more at Quaker Steak and Lube in mere minutes.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Drivable Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally. bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7, The Fox, State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
And the Dear Goon is working to join us for the second hour here of today's show. Again, getting ready for Thanksgiving. No show here on Thursday, but NFL football throughout the afternoon on Sports Radio 98.7, The Fox. Few other notes. Penn State basketball back in action tonight. The Nittany Lions taking on Boston University. Penn State will be looking to bounce back from its first loss of the season to Providence on Saturday up in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. And I think, you know, this will be a good opportunity for Penn State to get that bounce back win. I think Boston is 3-3 on the season. Certainly a game the Nittany Lions should win. Penn State now 5-1 on the season. I think Freddie DeLeon has been obviously a really consistent bright spot, and I think Mike Rhodes, despite the loss Saturday, likes what he's seen from his team in terms of the progression, the understanding of what it is that they're doing. And, you know, I think DeLeon is kind of the epitome of a guy that, man, he understands his role. Bring in the energy, bring in the fire off of the bench. And, man, he has been lighting it up. And I think for Penn State, this is they're in building mode. There's no question about that. But I think this is a team that has a chance to do some really good things as the season progresses and lay the groundwork here for what I think can be some really special stuff over the next couple of years. A couple of other notes just on the front of the rankings this week. The Penn State men's hockey team is down, I think, to number 9. I just lost my notes here, but I think they are 9th in the coaches poll this week. And Penn State, of course, off until January 3rd here, but we all remember what the Nittany Lions did a year ago after the new year, and certainly hoping for a similar run, maybe even better this year. And I think with the talent on that roster, that is certainly a possibility. Penn State, 9th in the coaches poll now this week, 11-5 on the season, 4-4 in the Big Ten. Michigan, by the way, the new number 1 in the men's hockey rankings. Big Ten schools in the top 3 spots. It's Michigan 1, Wisconsin 2, and Michigan State 3. And then it's Denver 4th, Minnesota Duluth 5th, North Dakota 6th, Western Michigan 7th, and Quinnipiac 8th, with the Nittany Lions 9th, and then Maine rounding out the top 10 in this week's men's hockey coaches poll, as the dear Booch comes in to join us while we
What's
wait
happening,
for
Head? I just
Goon.
got the text from Goon that he got held up in the weather, and I said I would jump on and help save your voice a little bit here until he's able to get settled in and jump in.
I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no sweat.
I want to get your thoughts again on where we're at with the coaching search, because that's what everybody continues to talk about here in just a moment. Let me just real quick finish up with the rankings here. Penn State women's hockey has been 6th all season until this week, and the undefeated Nittany Lions finally move up, and they are, now ranked 4th at 16-0 behind. And somehow, some way, I know this is a really tough time to be adding programs, and it's why you're not seeing schools add programs very much. I get it, but man, I mean, the Big Ten and women's hockey, are you kidding me? They don't have enough teams right now. Right now, there's 4. You need 6 to have a conference team. The 4 teams that they have, if there were a Big Ten conference, would be ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the country. Even though there is no Big Ten conference in women's hockey, the top 4 teams in the coaches poll this week, it's Wisconsin number 1, Ohio State number 2, Minnesota number 3, and undefeated Penn State, the only undefeated team, number 4. Do you think maybe some of these schools could consider, like, how does Michigan not have a women's hockey team? Does that not seem
or even
like Michigan or Michigan
Notre
State?
Dame, which could compete as a Big Ten member, right? Yeah, there are a few that it is amazing to me, Ironhead, that they don't have it. I am with you.
Yeah, I just anyways, it is
Michigan State too.
Yeah, Michigan and Michigan State, to me, it's like, well, come on.
Yeah, it's wild. But there's a program first for Penn State. They've never been ranked higher than this.
Yes, up to number 4. Cornell, by the way, rounds out the top 5. Penn State will be back in action. 2 games in 2 different locations against Northeastern in Massachusetts this week. I haven't read into it enough, and I meant to do that. And I'm just now remembering that I did not do that. But they're actually playing 2 different arenas here. One Friday afternoon and a different one Saturday afternoon. And I'm not 100% sure if that's just another event is in the main arena, or that'll be my guess. But anyways, they're playing in 2 different arenas against Northeastern this weekend, looking to get to 18-0. Penn State women's volleyball team sweeps both Michigan State and Maryland and drops a spot, still in the rankings, but barely, and trying to keep that years-long streak going of being in the top 25. They are at number 25 this week, dropping a spot despite, again, picking up 2 wins by sweeps this past weekend at home. So Penn State, number 25, they are closing out the regular season this weekend. Penn State will have, depending on how you look at it, big opportunity is what I'll go with, Booch, at number 1 ranked Nebraska on Friday night, and then we'll close out the season Saturday night at Iowa. Iowa has struggled this year. That even on the road should be.
But that Nebraska team is just a wagon this year.
Yeah, they just are playing as well as anybody we've seen in the last 5 years or so. Just right now hitting on all cylinders. Nebraska number 1, Kentucky is number 2, Texas 3, Pitt 4, and Stanford 5. Other Big Ten teams ranked this week in the volleyball coaches poll are Wisconsin at number 10, Purdue at number 11, USC at number 14, Indiana number 15, and Minnesota is number 25. So once again, pretty good showing for the Big Ten Conference in women's volleyball. And a couple of just quick programming notes as well, and then I'll get to the wrestling rankings in just a moment. But again, NFL football on Thursday. None of our normal weekday programming. We'll have Fox Sports until 12:30, and then we'll have the Packers at the Lions, followed by the Chiefs at the Cowboys, and then the Bengals-Ravens game in Baltimore on Thursday night. Let's go Bengals. Come on, Joe Burrow. Show what you can do. Also on Friday, we will have the Eagles-Bears game. Booch, what are you thinking about that? The Black Friday afternoon football. I know people are going to tune in. I'll tune in, but I don't know. At some point, do we not have to punish the NFL for the greed here? Like, I don't know. This just I
mean, I don't.
Anybody clamoring for Black Friday football?
Look, first of all, I hate it because the last thing I want right now is to see the Eagles sooner than next Sunday, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you think about football on Black Friday, you think of what? College football, right? I think I'm going to see, Nebraska, Iowa. There's going to be maybe a couple of good Big 12 games on that I'm going to enjoy watching. Goon has been talking for years about the way the NFL bullied college football off Thursday nights, and I think he's got a really valid point. And I just view this as I was just talking to somebody the other day about the NFL just feeling a little overwhelming with the fact that it's on TV practically every day of the week now, it feels like.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. To me, and listen, people will tune in. I'm going to tune in. So I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. Again, it's at some point, it's up to if the fans weren't tuning in on Thursday night and they're like, nope, Thursday nights are for college football, the NFL would make a change. But
can I derail your plan here for just a moment?
Absolutely.
I'm just curious to get your take on this because you're an AFC North guy. You probably follow it way closer than I do. And I was talking about it with this same guy I was talking to about just the NFL's on every night now. You look at what has happened with the Bengals over the last few years, where they had what really looked to be a cornerstone quarterback in Joe Burrow, and he has just gotten hurt, seriously hurt now, multiple times. And you look back on the draft where they had a choice between taking Penei Sewell, who has kind of become one of the best offensive tackles in football.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase, who is unquestionably like one of the best, if not the best wideouts in the game, and who had that vibe with Joe Burrow from being part of that great 2019 LSU offense.
Yeah.
When you look at the big picture, and you look at, just how productive T. Higgins is in that offense, how much having Penei Sewell locking down Jared Goff's blind side has helped Detroit, and the amount of time that Joe Burrow has missed.
Yeah.
For as great as Jamar Chase has been, and again, I think you can make a great argument he's been the best receiver in the league since he's been drafted. If you could go back and redo that draft again, do you think Cincy would take Sewell instead and just try to keep the quarterback healthier and then maybe just surround him with a little bit less talented, a little bit cheaper weaponry?
I think if you had that front office be honest with you, yes, because and there's no question. I mean, Jamar Chase is a very special receiver. That being said, Joe Burrow is a very special quarterback, and no matter who is off, if Higgins would be your premier guy, which he obviously presumably would be without Chase there, he's darn near, they're 1A and 1B, and it's a close 1A and 1B. But I mean, Chase is certainly the star right now. But I think Higgins is clearly a 1A option. And with Joe Burrow, a healthy Joe Burrow, I mean, I think, this is across the board. This actually would be an interesting discussion point during the offseason, maybe more so. But when building a roster, collegiately or in the NFL, like in order of importance with positions. I mean, quarterback, unquestionably the most important position. You need to hit that right, and at the very least have a guy that's not going to lose you games. But if you can get the difference maker there, man, that can cover up for a lot of other mistakes. But to me, and while wide receivers have become much more a premium, and running backs are thought of less important in terms of getting the superstar there, although that pendulum feels like it may be swinging a bit back as well. We could probably discuss that a little bit, but I do think keeping that quarterback healthy and getting a good, effective offensive line, to me, is after the quarterback the next important thing, and that starts with the blind side tackle. But then, I mean, I would almost go in order that argue that the next 5 most important positions are actually that offensive line, tackles, guards, and center, because keeping your quarterback healthy, and with that, the other thing that helps a quarterback out obviously is a good running game. And as long as you have an average NFL back, and by the way, you have to be a darn good athlete to be an average NFL running back. But if you have an average back behind a really good line, you're going to be good in the running game. And then, again, I think you can, yes, you need a difference maker at wide receiver to take it to that next level. But to me, probably getting a quarterback and then 2 elite offensive linemen, and one of them being the left tackle if your quarterback's right-handed, probably the next 2 most important positions in my mind, if again starting from scratch, building a football team, and that's before you even get to defense. And I think edge rushers then would be at the top of my list, with shutdown corners close behind. But same thing, line of scrimmage, man, you better have somebody that can hold down the middle there as well. Again, either the NFL or big time college football. Actually, I guess any college football, any football period. All right, before we that's my thinking on it, but
no, I'm with you. And it's not an easy call, I don't think. But man, I look at them having to start Joe Flacco with the amount of money they've invested elsewhere on that offense.
Yeah.
And I look at how just dominant Sewell has been, everything he was promised to be as a draft prospect, and you just wonder, would they have gone with the thinking you just laid out? I kind of think they would.
Real quickly, Penn State Wrestling team, of course, remains number 1 in the Intermat rankings. Now 4 individuals ranked number 1. Shane Van Ness at 49, Messenbrink at 65, Haynes at 74, and Barr at 97. Luke Lillidahl drops 1 spot to number 2 in the rankings this week at 125 after he lost to his teammate, even though that won't count on either's record. Nate Desmond at the Black Knight Invitational. Rocco Welsh holding steady at number 4 at 184. Aaron Nagao, who, again, I'm not sure, it looked like a pretty significant arm injury, but Nagao and Cole Mirasula right now ranked 10th at 141 and heavyweight, respectively. Marcus Blaze, the true freshman who was on the Penn State Players Show last night with Goon and Landon, is number 12 at 133, and he will be rising with a bullet at 133. I feel pretty confident in saying that, as will PJ Duke, who does check in now in the rankings at number 16 at 157. Of course, Penn State will be off until the dual meet at Drexel a week from Friday. All right, let's go to the couple people chiming in. Who would be the top offensive coordinator you would like to see the new head coach bring in? Why is Kevin Horn the way he is? Also, does he have a thyroid issue? I'll let Booch handle that one. And how is Notre Dame in the Big Ten for some things, but then not in a conference for others?
What order do you want me to take those in?
Let me weigh in on the Notre. Let's go reverse order. Let's start with the Notre Dame thing, because the shorter answer is because the Big Ten and the ACC allow it. and Notre Dame, I guess, is enough of a name and enough of a draw that they're like, all right, let's do it. But I mean, really, if they wanted to play hardball, the Big Ten and the ACC could get together and force Notre Dame's hand. The issue is, and part of the reason I think they don't, Booch, is if they do that, then Notre Dame does have to pick one, and that means one of them comes out on the short end of the stick. And you may say, well, Ironhead, but the Big Ten would be the winner there. They'd be the power play. I wouldn't be so sure because Notre Dame, I think, could get a better deal for itself in terms of the money situation by going to the ACC. And as we've talked about many times, the competition, the path to a playoff would be substantially easier in the ACC, at least at this particular time.
Yeah, no, look, Notre Dame doesn't want to be in a conference for football, but they understand they are the only big unclaimed money pot left on the college football landscape for either the Big Ten or the SEC. Really, I think this is more, Ironhead, about a cold war between the SEC and the Big Ten over neither side wanting to push Notre Dame into the other conference's camp for football. And in some ways, kind of like James Franklin, Notre Dame is just using the ACC for leverage. And so the response I saw online is that it's BS, and I couldn't agree more. But I do, in a way, respect the game. I appreciate that Notre Dame plays this thing strategically pretty well. They understand just how far they can push it up to the line, and they do it every single time. And I do have to say, for what it's worth, it is, as a Penn State and an ice hockey fan, it's cool to see conference games between Michigan and Michigan State and Penn State and Ohio State and Notre Dame. So I guess I'm not complaining too loudly. But yeah, of course, it's total nonsense.
We'll get to the Kevin Horn questions here in a moment. Who would be the top offensive coordinator you would like to see the new head coach bring in, as the dear Goon does join us now as well? Booch, you want to start there? The thing is, without knowing who the coach is.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very dependent on who the coach is.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, so look, if it's Bob Chesney, I just don't know. I don't know. I haven't dug deeply into enough, like his coaching connections and his coaching tree, who I think he might want to bring in. I'm sure, I think it's very possible that even though it's kind of an infinitesimal possibility, you get Kalen DeBoer, he might take a pretty hefty hand in the offensive play calling himself. I don't really know if it's a defensive guy, if it's Manny Diaz or Terry. I'm trying to think. Is it crazy to think that you might call Joe Moorhead back? It depends on what your offensive philosophy is as well, what kind of personnel you think you can and should recruit. I know I'm hedging my bets here, but there's just a pretty critical unknown and just not knowing who the coach is. I will tell you that I don't think Andy Kotelnicki is going to be retained under almost any circumstances. And I know Bobby Engram is interviewing for the head coaching job, which I don't think is a serious possibility for him. I think it's probably a case of Bobby being interested in maybe pursuing head coaching jobs in the future. And so he gets the chance to come in and do some critical reps in the interview process from his alma mater. And from Pat Kraft's perspective, he gets to bring in a guy who's been around college and the NFL for a long time and who knows the program very well and can give him perspective on, how is the program viewed around the league? What do Penn State guys and what do just in general draft prospects need? And how can we make the program more palatable? So maybe you just learn a little something. Bobby did have a stint as a play caller when he was on the staff at Wisconsin didn't go particularly well. So I've heard him mentioned as a possible OC candidate, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, to me, it depends who the coach is. If it's somebody that's already a head coach and they have a good offense going, you would presume they would like to try to retain the offensive coordinator who has that offense. But to me, it's just so dependent on who the coach is and what they're wanting to accomplish philosophically with their offense. And there's a ton of good options out there, obviously, but I think you have to wait and see who the hire is before you start trying to assess who would be good fits there. Good afternoon, dear Goon. You made it safely.
Barely. I just got the weather. They're for the weekend. They're calling for 6 to 12 inches of snow the next couple of days here. So
yeah, it's
different world, man.
Yep, that'll be good for the hunters, though. They'll be happy about that. Booch, thanks for hopping on. We're going to take a break here, and then you want to weigh in on Kevin Horn, and we're getting another person says Kevin Horn is my favorite bloggy host. He keeps it real, and I appreciate his honesty. I missed him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Kevin is consistently the most hated and most loved member of the obligatory cast. As to why he is the way he is, I don't know. They broke the mold when they made that guy. If I understood why he is how he is, I'd probably have a 1,000-yard vacant stare right now. And no, he does not have a thyroid condition.
What did he say? I can't read him.
Let the record clearly show.
It's become a thing now, Goon. It happens on Landon's show every week. It happens in our comment section. And now here you go. It's been brought to the Goon and Ironhead show. People just love or hate Kevin, and it's in every comment section. It's amusing to me, for sure.
Oh, the dear horse checking in. Before we let you go, Booch, I'll let you weigh in on this one, too.
Yeah.
Will we know the name of the new Penn State football head coach by Sunday evening at 6? I'm going to presume that's p.m. By 6 p.m., I may or may not be asking for betting purposes. What say you, Booch?
I really think so. I do.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Goon, are you in agreement on that?
See, I just jumped in, so I don't know where you guys have been yet, but I'm telling you, I have no freaking clue. I mean, I'm still like, I was sitting there thinking it could be Chesney, and then I'm like, well, the Chesney thing, does that really play with what Pat was saying when he released James, that this guy has already been doing it? He has been in the championship scenes, and he has won big games in the spotlight. So that's not Chesney. I say you got to hire a guy like Drinkowitz. I mean, that's just keep Terry Smith if that's what you're going to go with. I mean, that's just how I feel. So I think it's good. I mean, it's weird because I got some people down south who were swearing to me that's Lane Kiffin, man. They are absolutely swearing, or they're saying that Lane Kiffin goes to Bama and DeBoer comes to Penn State. And I said, I'll take that better than I do not want. I don't know if I would like Lane Kiffin here personally. But would it be a Caleb DeBoer and then Lane going down to be the Crimson Tide coach? I don't know, but I mean, I'm telling you, once the Matt Rule thing went away, I literally had nothing in my head. I did not know where Pat is going with this. I have not talked to Pat, nor has Pat spoken to anybody about a lot of this, I don't think.
No, Pat has done a masterful job keeping a tight lid on this.
He's a pretty good card player, man. I got to give him that, bro.
Yeah, if I had to take a guess, which was the listener's question, would we know by 6 o'clock on Sunday night? I think so, because what little meaningful intel I've been able to gather, which is just not a lot. There's a lot of BS, tons of BS. Not a lot you can really take to the bank. There are some signs that they feel like they're pretty close to wrapping this up.
Yeah.
I you think who, Coach?
Well, who do I think it is? Shoot, man. I don't think Alabama's going to lose to Auburn. I don't think that Lane Kiffin is going to Alabama. And I don't think Pat is going to hire Terry Smith, even though I absolutely think he should. And so it's probably going to be, if I guess the tea leaves right now are pointing towards Bob Chesney, who I like. And, if I had to bet, I guess I would put that money on Chesney. But what I am telling you is don't listen to me. It's not even a gut instinct. I am just duly impressed with the great job they have done keeping this thing hermetically sealed. There is not a lot of good information getting out.
Now, what about, Chesney, they're probably going to go into the playoff, right?
Probably not.
Oh, really?
At this point, there's a little bit of a logjam, and I think North Texas and Tulane both have a little bit.
I thought the JMU was up there to be going. I thought they had a big win last week, and that put them over the edge to be the next team into the playoffs. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that changes. If it's Chesney, it's Chesney. Where in Pennsylvania is he from? I know he has Pennsylvania ties, but where?
It's in Northumberland County. I'll get it right now. I always forget the name of the town.
Yeah, it's
a small town, which I can appreciate.
What, above an Allentown?
Rural Pennsylvania. He is from Culpmont, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yep.
Where the hell is that?
Northumberland County.
Yeah, it's probably Ironhead. I'm going to guess. I looked it up on the map the other day. I bet it is probably about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes from State College.
Yeah, it's less. Yeah, less than 2 hours from Happy Valley here. So
up down
to the east. I'm sorry, to the east.
So he's like the Allentown area, like Northampton, PA, like above Allentown.
Yeah, it's like halfway between Allentown and State College. So I don't know, like hour and a half driving range, I would guess. I am sure he's my age, Goon. So I am sure football guy in that part of Pennsylvania, 100% that dude was bundled into the back of a station wagon and driven down Interstate 80 and then sat in traffic in Pleasant Gap for an hour to go see a 1 o'clock kickoff of a Penn State game.
And guess what his family could do next year too? Drive down Interstate 80 and wait an hour at the interchange, going to a Penn State game.
Yeah.
True enough. Real quick, Vooch, and then we really will let you go. But I have somebody else asking, and this is an interesting question, and I don't know. You guys might have better insight or Landon, but who else is at the table here with Pat Kraft in the decision-making process? And I think it's a really good question, and I am really curious about it. Presumably Pat is at least bouncing some ideas off of other people, but I don't know who else is involved in the decision-making process. Have either of you heard of anything or have good guesses as to who else would be involved here in helping Pat ultimately make the decision here?
Booch, I know his inner circles, Vinny and Nick Colella, but I don't think that they're really advising him on different coaches. So who's
I think Vinny James, I think, is pretty directly involved. I think Vinny is kind of maybe running point on helping to keep the lid on all of this thing. So I'm sure he is probably privy to everyone we've talked to. I don't know if he's been in interviews, but I'm sure he's pretty hands-on.
But do you think that he's the one recommending people, as I think what Ironhead's asking? Who do you think Pat is asking about who to interview?
I don't think Pat's asking people who to interview. You're just who else would be helping out in the decision-making process?
The yes or no. So, because I'm thinking like Virginia Tech had what's his name? Bruce Arians was on the committee. We don't have a committee set up. Pat's on his own, right?
Yeah, I don't think we did this the way we did the Bill O'Brien or the James Franklin hire. I mean, if you remember when they were looking for Joe's replacement when we brought in Bill, we knew who was on that kind of committee who was doing the search. I'll tell you what, I'm thrilled they did not go out and hire one of those fraudulent search firms. I mean, may as well light that money on fire. Amen. So I'm glad they went that direction. I don't know. Good. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out who are the head coaches in football or the coaching candidates in football with the credentials to come take the Penn State job. I'm sure that Pat has probably talked to folks in and out of the building, some lettermen. I would think it's professional malpractice if you're not in contact with some of the money folks who are going to have to help you make good on the promises for the resources you're going to be offering these guys. And then I would have to think that the president's office is involved in the conversations as well. I saw there was a question here. Does the board of trustees need to approve, or is it just Pat? Pat's going to make that call, and then the board is, for all intents and purposes, just going to approve whoever it is he decides to hire.
They need to approve the salary, but they will,
correct,
no matter what it is. So,
do you think that the Urban Meyer rumor was true, that the older trustees said no when Pat said he wanted Urban, or do you think that was an urban legend? That was pretty good, dude. Yeah, dad humor, baby.
I love it. I would lean urban legend, to be honest with you. Because here's why. Nothing else has leaked out, Goon. We've not gotten one worthwhile piece.
Well, the story of James won the extension leaked out pretty good and got out there, and the whole full story was known pretty quick after he got fired.
That's because, I mean, look, that stuff, that's every day. There's a lot of loose lips inside the organization, right? And there was plenty of reason to make sure that got out and got around.
Yeah.
This is the exact
opposite.
Booch,
I know you're getting off the air here real quick, so having had a large tailgate this past weekend, and I had a ton of people from home because of all the people I have. It became pretty apparent to me that James was not really liked by a lot of people. I mean, now that he was gone, people were just freaking laying it on him. Like I was listening this weekend. I'm like, Jesus, I don't know. I mean, damn, I don't know if everybody thought like all this about him. Like, oh my God, like he just really pissed off a lot of people in his 12 years here.
He has a knack for that, and I am sure those resentments will crop up over time down in Blacksburg. I mean, the guy couldn't get through his introductory press conference without getting in a couple of digs about all the stuff they don't have. I mean, he's already sowing the seeds for why it's going to be their fault and their poverty facilities and their Petticoat Junction town that he can't beat SMU.
And the airport. Don't forget the airport, Booch. Don't forget the airport.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it just rubs people the wrong way. And for a guy who was a psychology major in college and is trumped up as some master communicator, there were some simple, no friction things that guy could have done to endear himself to this community and the fan base and the people inside the university. And instead, for absolutely no reason whatsoever other than his own insecurities and his compulsion to paper over them, he instead just stuck his thumb right in our eye gratuitously and rubbed it in cayenne pepper before he did it. And so I said it many times. I stuck up for the dude over and over and over again, but also admitted I just as often tolerate him as I do like him. And so when you get to the end of the rope with somebody like that, as the resentments have been building mutually over years, when that thing finally pops, people are going to let it out.
Yeah.
And by the way, just not for nothing, Terry Smith got a lawn and garden trash bag full of turds dropped into his lap when he was brought on as the interim head coach. When you look at the situation that was handed him, the games he had to go coach that team to play, and the quarterback scenario, and not once, not one single time have I heard him bring it up.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. I also think the humility that Terry has shown talking about mistakes he's made just in the 5 weeks as head coach and wanting to learn from it. That humility, it goes a long way toward allowing people to rally behind you.
It's the little stuff, man.
Yeah.
Oh, where do you learn that from, Chris?
I mean,
you take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves. I mean, that is literally was hammered into our head for 5 freaking years here, man.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd have a chance to say it on the air with you guys or not, but on my way out the door here, as we get ready to go into the holiday, and happy Thanksgiving to both of you, I will say it. I'm a Terry guy. I'm all in. I have come at it from every single angle. I have, beat myself up to say, are you just making an emotional decision here? Are you just playing entirely from your heart without using your head? And look, and if we could get Kalen DeBoer, maybe that's a little bit different situation. That's a resume that is incredibly difficult to turn down. But if I am looking at guys with big old question marks like Brian Hartline and Bob Chesney and Eli Drinkwitz and Brent Key, and I'm weighing against what all the known knowns I now have with Terry Smith, and just the fact that I'm my own focus group about how do Penn Staters feel about this. But man, I cannot tell you how many people I have talked to in the last 72 hours, completely independent of me saying anything to them. This is the best I have felt as a Penn Stater in years. I had the most fun I have had as a Penn Stater in Beaver Stadium on Saturday night. I put all of that together. And I just think, like, man, the obvious choice is staring us right in the face. But it would take some big brass ones to do it.
Well,
and I'll tell you what,
Pat would have to answer why he fired James right away. You know what I mean? Why did he fire him then? If he didn't know he was going to hire Terry, but this is who. I mean, he'd have to admit that he failed in his approach of getting rid of James. Now, don't get me wrong.
Wrong.
James had to go.
Said that to me.
We know it. We know it. James had to go. That was the guarantee. He was done. Had to go. But it just seemed like for him to be let go, Pat had to have something in line and order.
I'll tell you what, if I were Pat Kraft and somebody asked me that question, I'd be like, look, first of all, I already said in the press conference announcing the firing, I was not going to get any deeper into the reasons I let James go. Most of you in the room understand the reason why I let James go. And if anybody really wants the real story, you can buy me a bottle of bourbon and I'll tell you off the record. Now, as to did I know Terry Smith was the guy when I installed him as the interim and began this head coaching search? Of course not. No, you all know that. But you know what, folks? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than be good. And the good leader is the one who is able to adapt and pivot when presented with new information. And the information I didn't have when James Franklin got fired, and the information I do have now, is the way Terry Smith has handled this job from the moment he took over. Amazing. And the in-depth interview I did with him. So if anybody wants to criticize that process, that's fine. But if all you want is somebody who's going to make a decision and then analyze inert pieces of information without being able to adapt and analyze, then we'll just let ChatGPT pick the next coach. That's what I would say. But I'll tell you what, here's the other thing. Academia is not an industry where you climb the ladder by being an innovator. So do I think Pat has, frankly, the vision or the stones to make this hire or the wherewithal to answer that same question like I just did? No, probably not. So I'm not expecting it. But I'd be all in. And I cannot tell you how excited I and thousands of other people who live in a higher tax bracket than I do would be if we just said, hey, we're going to double down on what makes Penn State. Meet your new head coach, Terry Smith.
I'm ashamed to say it, but Corey Geiger, did you see his tweet?
No.
Do me a favor, look it up if you can. You got your phone and your computer in front of you.
Right in front of me. Yes, sir.
He said something about James. It went from 12 years about being me to in 5 weeks turning into we. You know, it went
that
from
was
me
Zach
to we.
Seiko. That was Zach Seiko who said that.
Who?
That was Zach Seiko, who I am not going to tell you.
Geiger must have. Geiger must have retweeted it. But I mean, I heard that and I was like, that's a pretty damn good one, man. So, you know, and I know you're running boots, so it's all good. So, I mean, I hope that the next time we're talking next Tuesday, we're talking about a head coach here and we're all happy about it. Just to give my 2 cents before, you know, but I would be over the moon if Terry Smith is the head coach, but I'm also, I mean, I'm a Pat Kraft guy. I have faith in Pat Kraft, and if he feels that someone's better than Terry right there, then bring him on. And if Terry can stay, even better. If Terry wants to stay, if Terry wants to stay, he's deserved and earned that right to stay. And I don't know if the head coach is going to come in and want to be, you know, his own DC. I don't know. I mean, it's just so bad. Like, we have absolutely no freaking clue of who the next coach is going to be, man.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. Like, it's not a career achievement award, and it's not an I Love Joe Paterno award. Okay, so like, I am not making the argument for Terry on the basis of either one of those things. Look, the Joe Puss stuff is nice. It's nice to not have to pretend that the 5 out of the last 6 decades of Penn State football never happened. That's nice. I'm not going to lie. That's not going to win football games going forward. It's not going to build the program. It's not going to pay off $700 million of debt on the renovation of Beaver Stadium. But do I believe that in the new college football, with a great GM, a guy who understands our program and how to leverage its assets, who gets the rank and file fan base and the donor base united and excited, and who we know from 12 years of being on James Franklin's staff can recruit his butt off and coach a game of football? Like, do I think that guy could grow the program and take it confidently into the future? Like,
I mean, that's the biggest worry about everybody's been recruiting, losing the recruiting aspect of James. And I'm like, if Terry says that he bought 60% of the team in here, that's pretty good odds of him staying here, of us keeping these guys. So there's a lot of stuff going out there. There's a lot of negative people out there. There's a lot of positive people out there. But you said it right about that energy in that crowd the other day, of people just being happy. And, it was just such a horrible, horrible crap season that, having that way to end it and ending it on a positive note and having everybody so happy and so joyous and this and that at the end of that game, it was a pretty cool thing. If that's the way it's going to be, it's going to be. But I mean, Terry ain't no like, fill in joke guy. I mean, Terry's going to want to win that national title. There's no doubt. Yeah. He's going to be sitting there and telling James, hey, what if I'm going to be the first African-American head coach to win a national title? You shove it up your, you know what, So, I mean, James is going to come after him hard, come after those recruits hard. And he'll dog out Terry if Terry's the coach. And it is what it is. But Terry, he's his own man. He's a little dude, but he's tough. He's a tough little SOB, man.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2 last things, and then I'm going to bounce. Thanks for letting me have the platform, guys. It's always fun. First of all, to this thing about who can and can't win a national championship, man, we don't know. We don't know, especially the way the sport is changing. I remember a conversation, Goon, and I'm not calling you out because I was kind of thinking the same thing. When Marcus Freeman got announced that they were going to retain him as the full-time head coach at Notre Dame, nobody was beating the path. I remember this conversation. That guy. And you and I looked at the reaction in the locker room and we were like, is that good, or are the inmates going to run the asylum?
Because it had never worked before.
Yeah, and it just turned out that they recognized, hey, this is our guy. We already got him in the building. There were tons of people who said, oh, Notre Dame settled, not good enough for Notre Dame. They couldn't get a big-name candidate, blah, blah, blah. But the last thing I'll say is, as passionately as I'll make the case for Terry Smith, and clearly I just did, and I've been doing it all over the place, nobody's got more information on this process than Pat Kraft, and he's really the only one at the end of the day who gets to make the choice. And I don't want to become so tribal about it that I've got my guy, and if I don't get my guy, I'm going to be sour grapes about it. Like, I'm for Penn State at the end of the day. And so when Pat steps to that podium and he announces the next head coach of Penn State, you're part of the family then at that point. And I'm ready to get behind that guy. And so I just don't want any of us to get so whipped up into a frenzy over whichever candidate we would prefer, that if we don't get our choice, and most of us are going to be disappointed, that it's anything other than 100% balls to the wall. Like, let's go and let's go win football games.
Pooch, really appreciate your stepping up today, and we hope you and your family have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yeah, likewise to both of you guys and to everybody in the listening audience.
Be fun.
We will take a break here, and Goon and I will be back on the other side. I want to pick up on a couple of thoughts there as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock, ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Dryville Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again,
The Fox,
your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And back here on a Tuesday afternoon. Again, no show, of course, Thursday, with it being Thanksgiving. So this will be our last show until next Tuesday. And we do wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you get to spend it with family and enjoy some great food and, yep, some great football. Again, we will have all three NFL games for you on Thanksgiving Day here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Goon, I wanted to pick up on the Pat Kraft. What does he tell the media if he goes with Terry Smith, and why you got rid of James Franklin? Here is one of the things that I would say, and I made this comparison this morning. And it just kind of came to me, and I like it. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I like it. So I'm going to run with it a little bit more. But part of sports, right, is how you adapt to the inevitable changes, the unexpected curveballs that will come your way. With any championship team, somewhere along the way, we talk about this every season. There's adversity that hits, whether it's injuries or just a bad weather game, or man, it's just a day where your team's off, and you find a way and you gut it out. But you make changes. Sometimes you go into a game with a game plan and you get to halftime and it's like, my God, we thought we were going to be able to run roughshod over the right side of this team's defense, but this guy's playing out of his mind today. So you make adjustments. You know what? This isn't what we were expecting, but yeah, they're giving us the deep ball. We're going to take it, and you adjust, and well, there's the deep ball in the second half. Well, that isn't how we thought we were going to win this game. I am now to the point where I am actually like sick and tired. I mean, fed up with you don't get rid of James Franklin to get to hire his top assistant. Well, what if that top assistant is the next great coach? You're not going to hire him just because, well, yeah, we just don't hire him because of, I'm not saying hire him because of the emotion. I'm with the folks that are saying, man, you can't just do it because of the emotion. I think Pat Kraft is smart enough, savvy enough. I don't think he's going to hire him if he does because of the emotion and the fans getting all caught up in it. But I also think it's dumb to not hire somebody because of the position they were in, that you put them in, where they were the second in command, in essence. Well, okay, first of all, I think most of us are at least willing to acknowledge James Franklin was a good coach. Again, very consistently, Penn State was a top 10 program. Not a lot of lousy, no good, they didn't know anything coaches that are consistently putting their teams in the top 10, winning 10 games a season. I get it. It wasn't enough. I get all of the other stuff. Fine. But I think we can also fairly acknowledge that, yeah, the guy was a pretty good coach, recruited really good players, developed a lot of them to go into the NFL, and won a lot of games. Well, Terry Smith was here for all of that. And Terry Smith is a different person. We've already seen that through 5 games. He handles the press conferences differently. There's some things in the way they are approaching practices we're hearing that he is handling differently. And listen, and this is just 5 weeks into it as he's doing it on the fly. What I am telling you is I think there is a very good chance, me personally, that Terry Smith, now that he has his feet wet and he's clearly liking this opportunity, wants to continue it. I think it all comes down to me is, can Terry Smith sell Pat Kraft on his vision moving forward? Hey, Pat, this is, you give me an entire offseason to line up the coaches I want to coach with. These are the people I would reach out to. This is what I envision. This is how I would set it up. If he is answering that, at least in the same ballpark as whoever the other top candidates are, then to me, you hire Terry Smith, in part because as much as we all want to think that there is this grand slam guaranteed hire out there, here's the little secret. There's not. Even if Kalen DeBoer, that man, I would be super excited about that hire. If Kalen just man, it's not working out. I don't like Alabama. I want to come to Penn State. However that happens, as unlikely as I may think that is, and as excited as I would be about a Kalen DeBoer coming in here and taking over the program, and I think it would work. I think his track record speaks volumes, and yep, I think that would work. Here is the fact, though. We don't know. There's been lots of situations. I thought Lincoln Riley to USC was pretty much a home run. Scott Frost to Nebraska, as we've talked about many times. It's like, man, that just felt right. Man, it didn't work out. Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, by the way, I know it ultimately worked out, and we all would have to look back now and say, yep, that was a success. Man, the first 4 years there, that didn't feel like a success, Goon. And there weren't a lot of people at Michigan saying, yep, we definitely got our guy. So my only point is that there isn't a guarantee with any hire you make, and any hire you make. I'm sure there's some people out there that are DeBoer detractors too within the Penn State community, because there's just going to be detractors of anybody. But there's not a guarantee with anybody, Terry Smith included. I think it would work, and I want him to be given the opportunity, but yeah, there's a chance in 3 years from now we're looking at it and saying, yeah, man, Terry was a good guy, but not the great head coach that Penn State needed. Maybe that would happen. But a couple of things, I think Terry Smith, darn well, is going to do everything in his power. This is going to be about making Penn State football great, not getting more money in his back pocket, not looking at the facilities. And I'm not saying those conversations aren't happening and that they aren't important too, but I'm telling you, the focus is going to be on, with every ounce of his fiber, it is going to be trying to make this Penn State football program elite and doing everything he can to get the kids to become the very best they can be. I don't know, even with Kalen DeBoer or whoever else you want to throw out there, I don't know that you're going to get the commitment and passion that you're going to get from Terry Smith with any other candidate. And to go back to an earlier, and then I will shut up, to go back to an earlier point about, will the new head coach at least allow the recognition of Joe Paterno and football existing? Again, I think it is likely, no matter who it is. I know that's happening if it's Terry Smith. And while I agree with Booch's point that that's, the recognition of the history and connecting that isn't in and of itself going to win you football games moving forward, I think that humility and that understanding, Goon, that you are part of something much greater than yourself for football players coming in is important. And I don't think you have to club people over the head, and I don't think Terry would every day with, Joe Paterno's what made us great. Joe Paterno. No, but having recognition there in the Lash building that the winningest coach in college football history and one of the great philanthropists in college sports history was right here. Like, I think that's good to acknowledge, good to recognize, and good to have players currently at least see and feel like they are a part of that history and tradition.
Yeah, I mean, it's Penn State. It is based on tradition, and the biggest thing we had for 50-some years was the same head coach. I mean, a lot of schools go through a lot of people trying to find that person, and you're never going to have that. What we had with Joe is never, ever, ever going to be done again. There's no way. A little side note: after Terry's win, his first win 2 weeks ago against Michigan State, I told you what I texted him, right? I said 408 more. Yep. You know what I mean? And he just gave me one of those I'm laughing my ass off emojis. Like, I mean, just think about that. That's how good we had it. And you said it. I mean, Joe wasn't just a football coach. Joe was a man. Joe was a good man who raised. I'm not going to sit there and say we were choir boys. We were not choir boys. You know that, Ironhead. I mean, we were all idiots. Everybody has their idiot faction. But Joe kept their asses in line for sure and made us good people. And we weren't arrogant. I mean, there were some outliers and stuff like that, and that worked out. But like a guy like Terry is just a good human being. I mean, Joe was a good human being. I think that Terry is very similar. Just look at how Terry treats people. I mean, he treats. I don't know. It's the old adage, you treat the janitor like you treat the CEO. And I really, really believe that about Terry. I mean, I look at Terry and I think that, a lot of that has to do with, how we were coached by the same man and Joe. And, is that you treat everybody with respect. And you hear stories about some, the past few years that hasn't been the case sometimes. And there hasn't been somebody putting his foot down on people. And that soured a lot of people. One being the guy you're talking to right now. It soured me pretty good about that. So having Terry here, as I said, would be an absolute godsend. We have a very favorable schedule next year, very favorable for whoever comes in here. They're going to look like they're going to be doing a good job here their first year because it's not that hard of a schedule. But with that said, I mean, we are going to lose 30-some guys off of this team. And, there was that, okay, well, there might be an influx of a new coach bringing people in. If it is Terry, I mean, is it keeping our guys that we have? That would be fantastic. If they keep them away from going to Blacksburg, Virginia, a lot of them are they're already being pilfered there. They're already being asked to come there, type of thing. Talking to my recruits, and that's not unexpected. But I think that if Terry does get named, I think that he can retain probably half this team, half of what we thought we were going to lose. And actually possibly pick up maintain some of our recruits that decommitted already. I think that Terry has that kind of pull in the program and with people. And you've heard me tell stories about Joe and how he treated my mom and dad and how he looked at my dad in his face, in my dad's eyes, and told my dad that I will raise your son the way I would raise my own son. And I think that Terry is that guy who will look a man in the eye and say, I'm going to take your son, your young adult son. He's going to get an education. He's going to learn how to play tough football. He's going to play great football, hopefully go to the NFL for 30 years. But bottom line, he's going to be a man. I'm going to raise him to be a good man. And then what human being does not want that for their child? I mean, you're a father. I could tell you that right there. You're shaking your head saying, oh, my God, you would love for someone to say that to you. So, I'm all team Terry, but I'm also team Pat Kraft. So if Pat has an idea of who he wants, he's going to go another way. Yes, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Terry staying here. I'm okay with Terry, being the head coach. I'm okay with Terry maintaining being the cornerbacks coach, recruiting corner. I want him here in some capacity as that little link, from our eras to where we're at right now. James did a pretty good job of that with hiring guys back and all that, but I think Terry Harkins on a lot deeper wavelength, and he goes back to the old school Joe, and that's raising men and as to be good people and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be upset. I mean, Kalen DeBoer. I mean, I would be upset if it's not a Caleb DeBoer. I mean, who are the names that make a big splash for you? Because I'll ask you. I mean, I have 3 or 4.
Well, here is my position all along, though. Is I am in the camp that I don't care about the splash. I really don't. I care about getting the guy that is going to be successful. And long term, again, like Lincoln Riley was a big splash at USC. And the jury's still out. I mean, that thing isn't over yet, and I'm not sitting here telling you Lincoln Riley is just a failure as a coach. But certainly it has not gone the way USC or Lincoln Riley was envisioning to this point in his career. And there's numerous examples of that. Again, Scott Frost was the splash hire at Nebraska. I mean, there have been lots of splash hires, some that have worked, some that haven't. Muschamp, lots that haven't, and for all kinds of reasons. Brian Kelly, you can go down the long list. And listen, I'm not saying that you rule somebody out because they're a splash hire either. Like that's my point. I don't want to worry about the splash hire. I don't want to worry about what the fans necessarily are going to think or react. I certainly don't care about what the media is going to say. If it is Terry Smith and the media, well, why would you do that? Because I care about Penn State, and I'm trying to do what's best for my program. And I know damn well that none of you in the national media have a clue about what's best for Penn State moving forward. You certainly have not at any point over the last 15 years. So and I don't think Pat Kraft will. I don't think Pat Kraft is sitting there. Well, yeah, I would hire Bob Chesney. He seems like a great fit, but yeah, I don't know that the fans are going to be as supportive of him as they would be Terry Smith. And I don't think the media, it's not going to be the splash that a DeBoer or a Marcus Freeman would make. No, if you feel like that is the guy, and in your meeting with him, man, he has the passion, he has the vision, he has the organization. There's all of these things. And, that's what, to me, if Terry Smith, and I don't know, I think, yes, I do think Terry Smith is a good guy. At the end of the day, that is not enough to be giving him the head coaching reins at Penn State. There are a lot of good guys out there, and I'm reading a lot of, he's a good guy, but he's not a head coach. You don't know that. I don't know that. I think based on what we've seen in a very short sample size, I think he might just be a head coach, a really good head coach. But I don't know the vision for the internal, hey, this is what we need organizationally. These are the people I want to talk to. Like, those are important conversations that Pat has to have. But if Terry Smith is answering those questions, hey, yep, this is who I would hire as the offensive coordinator, and this is what I envision for our offense, and man, we are going to get an offensive line, and we are going to start steamrolling people, and this is what I'm envisioning for my defense. And yeah, I think Jim Knowles was a little rough start, but now we're figuring it out. That's our guy. I'm with Booch. I think it's very unlikely Andy Kotelnicki in any situation here is the guy at OC moving forward. But I do think there's some other guys on the staff that, regardless of the coach, but certainly if it's Terry Smith, that would be retained. But this is one of those things where I really think Terry Smith may be the guy. Wow, he's not going to make the splash. He's not. I don't care about any of that. If he is the guy, if Pat Kraft, after sitting down with him and the other candidates, is like, oh, you know what? Man, this isn't what I was envisioning. Nobody thinks that when Pat Kraft fired James Franklin, he's like, pretty sure in 5 weeks I'm going to name Terry Smith as the head coach. I'm pretty sure. I just need to make sure and do my due diligence. No, none of us think that. I think that is fine. If at the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, this guy, after getting a taste of it now and making some adjustments in very short order, I mean, that team Saturday night, again, I get it. Nebraska's not a national title contender. They're a good team, though. They were 7-3. They're good. Penn State looked like the Penn State that we were hoping to see all season long. I mean, they were controlling the line of scrimmage. They were hustling on both sides of the ball. Every player, seemingly every play. There's probably a play where you can go back and point at a player and, he didn't finish that. I mean, it felt like every player, every play. That's what it felt like watching it. Now, I wasn't in the stadium. I was watching it on TV. But, man, I'm watching it, and I'm watching the linemen. I'm watching the tight ends. And they're finishing off plays. The running backs. I know Katron Allen has run hard all year. Man, I mean, both he and Nicholas Singleton, they never went down on first contact.
Some got in that water in the last couple of weeks here, man. I mean, it's unbelievable, just the turnaround the effort that these guys are putting in right now.
So what my question is why are people so quick to dismiss that maybe Terry Smith, with a full offseason under his belt, implementing things the way he wants them done. And again, I get it. He was with Franklin. He's not James Franklin, though. He is his own person, and he wasn't in charge, and he knew he wasn't in charge. He understood his role. I also think he now understands and has a much better idea now of, all right, this is what it takes to be in charge. And I think he feels, I know he feels, man, I can do this. Like, give me the shot. I can do this. I've got it. And I feel better about him than I would about anybody else, Kalen DeBoer included, right now, moving this thing forward, because, again, I think he bridges the gap with the old-time fans, and there are fans and donors out there, or would-be donors, that have refused to give to Penn State football or to the university because of the lack of recognition of Joe Paterno. You bring those people in immediately, I think, with Terry Smith. I think you don't lose any of the new school people that don't want to – I don't want to hear about the history. I'm focused on now. That's fine. Terry Smith is living in the now, but you can live in the now and still recognize, hey, yeah, it's part of a greater legacy. To me, Terry Smith – I don't think they're going to do better than Terry Smith, and I'm like Booch, and I think you, Goon, we're going to be on board no matter who it is. But man, until we know who it is, I'm okay with lobbying for Terry Smith to be the guy and to get his shot.
What drives me crazy is the people who are like all in or I'm out completely. Like, stop throwing putting lines in the sand. Like, just trust the process, in my opinion. Well, if it's like I heard so many people say, if it's not Terry, I'm gone. Like, what? Why? Are you sure? You're going to do something for 50 years and be something in your life that is so big in your life that it doesn't go your way a couple times, and all of a sudden that you're just gone. You're just going to get that out of your life. Come on, man, stop. You're making a fool of yourself sometimes. The way some of these people act online with the social media stuff, and I'll never do this. I'll never do this, or I'll never do that if they don't hire Terry. I mean, if he doesn't hire Terry, there's got to be a good reason if he didn't hire Terry. Again, Pat is Pat. I'm on board with Pat. I'm ecstatic if it's Terry Smith. I would absolutely love if it's Terry Smith. I hope it's Terry Smith. And if it's not, it's going to be somebody else that I'm going to support 100%. Because I have faith in Pat. I mean, you've heard me say this 55,000 times, but yeah, I mean, but for the people who it's just like, we bring the Paterno people back, and then, okay, well, that's good. But then what are they going to be like? What are they going to cry for next? What are they going to be screaming for next? What's this and what's that? Or what are the people who hate Paterno? Are they going to go away now? And it's just like, man, it's freaking football, man. Let's just go. It's our college, it's our university, it's our team. Let's go support them. Fund them and let's have some fun, man. I mean, God damn, it just makes you go a little bit crazy. So I know we got about 10 seconds left here. I never once heard Al Golden's name or Greg Schiano's name in any of these coaching rumors for the last 5 weeks. And isn't that crazy? Now that we're playing against Schiano this week, isn't that a weird thing?
Yeah, I mean,
I got Penn State kicking the living crap out of Rutgers this weekend, by the way. So.
Yeah, things change. It is amazing because those were the two of the top names last time the job came open. But things change real quick, Goon. Too sometimes you just like get a little bit lucky in falling into things. The example I was using this morning, Tom Brady was never like. The New England Patriots didn't draft Tom Brady with the idea that he was their future quarterback. They drafted him with the idea that we need a good backup here to Drew Bledsoe. We think we might be he may be able to develop into that. And he never, I mean, we've talked about this, but he never, if not for the official's call overturning the fumble, he never gets the opportunity. Well, now it works out. We look back. I'm just saying there is a chance that opportunity is here right now for Penn State football with Terry Smith. Yeah, nobody had Terry Smith on the bingo card, just like Tom Brady wasn't on the bingo card. Maybe, just maybe, the legend in waiting is right here in front of us, and maybe we ought to take advantage of it. All right, that's going to wrap things up for today. Have a happy Thanksgiving, Goon. Best to everybody there. Best to everybody out there in the audience. And Goon and I will be back a week from today with another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Until then, be good and be safe.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox,
your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7. The Fox.
State College. The Goon